All right, we're live. Well,
Hi,
live.
Michelle.
Hi. Are you excited
How
to
you
do
doing?
this? I'm doing
Yes,
good.
I am. Yes, I am.
I feel like it's a long time coming.
Yeah, it is.
So
A long time coming.
where do you think we should start?
Well, since the governing body of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses has decided that there should be no dirty laundry in the chats, I think we need to talk about it here
I agree. So
because
let's talk about it.
certain people have a lot to say about us. It feels like, right?
Mm-hmm. Pe-
So,
People are
um,
having a hard time keeping us out of their mouths, and also there's a lot of innuendos where we know it's targeted towards us after our confrontation with Ruby on her
yeah,
show. So
people making comments like troll, using terms like troll,
yeah.
talking about drama, um, and being ambushed, when we
Mm-hmm.
know that we were the ones who were ambushed.
Correct. And then we
Far,
also have issues with people within the chat who don't know what's going on and who are
hmm
obviously taking sides, and that's not fun
yeah,
either for us. So we have done nothing to these
right,
people. So yeah.
exactly. I mean, I have always been kind to everyone. And I know that you have been too. We've always just said hello to people in the chat. And, for some reason, people are very protective of somebody that they don't really know that is just on a screen in front of them.
Correct. I agree. And from the time I've known you, you've always been very kind to everybody, very sweet and understanding. So for me, I was kind of taken aback by certain people's reactions to what you had to say as well, and not giving you a fair um, opportunity to pretty much explain what was
Yeah,
going on.
because I've been around this community for quite a while now, and I've got to see a whole lot. And it's
Right.
not so pretty, actually.
Right. You've been
Um,
around longer than me. How long would you say you've
mhm.
been around? Would you say?
um, oh gosh, years before Ruby came out.
Mm,
Um, Pretty much that's when everything started for me because I would be in the chat being a cheerleader for the Fixing My Faith show. And um, I got reached out to by Shauna. And, um, and when she reached out to me, it sounded to me like she was looking for people to connect to her show so that pretty much it would bring some traffic over to her, the Fixing My Face program. So, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. But that's how everything started. That's how I got hooked up with them. And then they opened their Discord up, and I immediately started to help her out with that, building her channels and just pretty much I was always just there to help her,
and support.
do
You
things the way she wanted to do them.
you were
Like
very
I'm not going to go in
supportive.
there. I'm not going to go in there and try to take over your Discord. That's not my style. I'm going to do it what you want, how you want to run it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I was always doing it.
Yep, you were a support system. And then what happened? What started all of this, do you think? Like, what was it that
There
created
was
this
somebody in the
issue?
chat
Mhm.
area of the Discord that was pretty much anytime they had very strong views, this person, and anytime anybody would post anything that was contrary to this person's, well, I don't want to say
Beliefs.
belief system, but just
Didn't
the
align with
way
a
this
lot of
person
things.
thought, right, didn't
Mhm.
align with the way they thought, there would be an immediate, oh, well, this is why I don't agree with that. And there would be like 10, things underneath it. And it's like, anytime this other person would post something, people would be supportive and just like give a thumbs up or a little heart or just, support that person. But anytime anybody else would do things, it was just kind of like, okay, you have to list all your reasons why you disagree with everything this other person is saying. So that kind of started a little friction between Ruby and this person. And there was something that happened between the mindful warrior.
Yep.
This was the next thing that happened was mindful warrior came in. Okay. And the person that I'm talking about got triggered by some of the things that the mindful warrior was saying. I think his name is Carlos.
Yeah, I
He
think you're
was
right.
on Ruby's show.
Hmm.
So people were getting triggered, and I
Well,
decided to.
I
Oh,
was
go
gonna say
ahead.
coincidentally, he was on the show the
Hmm.
same night that we confronted
Yeah,
Ruby.
yeah,
Okay,
right,
yeah,
right.
continue. So, mindful warrior, and what's going on
Yeah.
in the
So
Discord?
yeah, so I happen to know that this person. Well, all of us have trauma, right?
Hmm.
Everybody has trauma that we're dealing with. So I was very sympathetic to this person being triggered by the mindful warriors posts. Okay, and they kind of said, well, if you don't like it, you could leave my tab. And Ruby says, you can leave my tab. And I just, nothing against Ruby. I just said, well, I'm sorry, but this is not Ruby's Discord. So I will leave when I find it appropriate to leave. You're not going to tell me. You just got here. They literally just got there that night.
Right.
So anyway, this whole thing ends up getting scrubbed, and this person gets booted out, and he leaves, and he goes to, I guess he was talking to Ruby in the background, and he left to go to Ruby's political Discord channel. So
Yeah.
fine, it's over. Whatever happened happened, and everything got scrubbed, as they always do. Everything has to be erased and hidden. So
Sounds like
the
Watchtower.
next, oh, I know, doesn't it?
Very familiar. You gotta scrub the evidence and
Yeah.
pretend
So
it never
then
happened.
the
Hmm.
next part is pretty much something that Um, I had invited somebody to the Discord that is very important to me, and there was someone who brought something up. I felt kind of set up by this person, and it's the same person that had the problem with Mindful Warrior. And um, so anyway, I want to make this like a short story, not a long story. Um, what ended up happening is that they put somebody in the chat deliberately to kind of wait and see what would happen to um, catch me if I was following the Discord rules.
So, like a spy.
Which, yeah, like a spy. I mean, I said, I feel like this person's a plant, that
Hmm.
came in here. And then they admitted that, yeah, I planted this person to see what you would do, to see if you would follow the rules. And I was like, wow, because what happened was this uh, person that was the plant um, caught a couple of people saying some things that they thought were going to be even illegal, to the point of being illegal of saying it, because Canada has different rules than what the United States has.
Right. Being a certain denier. Well, we won't talk about it, but it starts with an
Right,
H.
we're
Being a certain denier. Little man with a
exactly. So they
mustache.
were
Little man with a
accusing
mustache.
people.
Hmm.
Right, they were accusing people of being deniers of the H
That
event.
situation.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. That whole situation. And um, gosh, what happened
But
after
once
that?
again, it was connected to Ruby.
Yeah,
It was connected to
exactly.
Ruby. Yes.
Right. Well,
Hmm.
so she had made a comment, and she actually didn't say anything wrong,
Hmm.
but this other
Ruby.
person,
Ruby didn't say anything wrong. You're
right,
saying
Ruby
Ruby.
did
Yes.
not, in the chat, she made a comment, but it was really nothing. But this other
Yes.
person who was put in there as a plant attacked her comment and attacked some other people's comments. One of them was mine, one of them was someone else's. So I reached out to everyone and I said, listen, there's somebody in the Discord who is accusing us of being deniers of that event, and we should just delete those comments just so to calm this person down, basically, right? Okay, so I deleted my own comment. The other person deleted their comment. Ruby was not around. So, I'm not going to go delete somebody else's comment. That's not for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I let her know immediately what was going on. So then after this happened,
I got involved too, because I had seen something. Yeah. The notifications came up on my phone. I saw some drama where someone was accusing of that. And that's when I reached out to you to be like, what the heck is happening?
Yeah.
Because I realized,
and I didn't want to talk about it. I was like, right.
Yep. And I realized all the comments had been erased. That's when I started noticing that in this Discord, the XJW Discord, that things would get erased like they never happened.
Yes.
So
because there was several comments from this other person that was like, oh, you're deniers and stuff, and I was just being kind. It was like 1:30 in the morning. I was just replying to her and I said, well, I don't know exactly who you're referring to or what you're referring to. And this person just went on the attack about it. And then so there was someone that the person who set this whole thing up wanted Ruby to be timed out over this whole situation.
Like she was a kindergartner. They wanted her to get timed out.
Yeah. And both of these people that I'm talking about, so Ruby, right at this point, was a moderator. And so no, wait a minute. No, I messed this up. We're going to have to pause it.
No.
I messed this up.
Yes, Ruby was a moderator, and the whole Mindful Warrior thing was why she stepped back.
That's when she was a moderator.
Yes, and she was done with it. She didn't like how things went down, and so she stepped back from being that. And then when this second thing happened, that she wasn't involved in that. She kind of was already in the back corner from all of this.
Right. But she stopped being a moderator.
When that Mindful Warrior thing happened, this other person we're talking about wanted to put Ruby on a timeout. That is why.
Right. And they were both moderators. They were both moderators, and I was an admin. Okay.
And they were putting you in a bad situation. They were putting you in a bad spot. Like,
right. Because exactly. Because I'm working with these people, and you're supposed to be pretty much backing me up if there's a problem, and I'm supposed to back you up if there's a problem. But now we're all like moderators, because I was a moderator too. So we're 3 moderators and I'm an admin, and I have one person telling me I need to give another moderator a timeout, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because that's not what I'm there for. I think that we should be adults and talk this stuff out.
Agreed.
That's what I think. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, wouldn't that make more sense? Like,
right. And that's what we did try to do with this last situation that led it to us leaving, was that we were trying to talk it out with this person. This person wanted to leave. We told this person we didn't want her to leave. And then it became a situation where we had to contact the owner of the Discord. And
right. And I just want to interject here in case people are confused, because I don't want to say this person's name, but they were involved in 3 separate incidents. Every single incident here, this one person was involved. And I have a lot of empathy for this person because I know that they've been through a lot of trauma. And this is why
they were
a moderator. Mm-hmm. And, at one time, Ruby was a moderator. And I don't know Ruby's full situation, but I assume as an ex-JW, being a JW and coming out of that, people have trauma. Timing people out, kicking them out is not something. It's not the answer. It's not what you do, because you're basically disfellowshipping people. So this last time you were involved, and there was someone else related to Ruby that was also involved in the situation.
Yeah,
right?
So I didn't get involved till the 3rd situation had occurred.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Right.
And my take too is I came into this when the spy was involved and with the denying stuff. And when I had reached out to you, that is when I realized there was some kind of issue between you and Ruby. And so I wanted to bridge that gap. And I wanted, because I loved you as a person, I loved Ruby as a person. And so I wanted to kind of work through that. And that's when I found out about everything between what Ruby had told me and what you had told me. I was like, oh my goodness, this is a misunderstanding. The issue is not
Yeah,
with you
see,
two.
because I
Hmm.
think that she was like, I didn't really understand why Ruby, it felt to me like Ruby didn't like me. I didn't understand why, but I could only tie it to that one event where I took the side of this other person who was triggered by Mindful Warrior. That's what I
And you
tied
were
it to.
correct, because what
Like,
Ruby told me
yeah,
was that it was what it was. She felt like you were taking sides of this person, and she felt like she had to take a step back because between the three, the owner of the Discord, this other person, and you, she was feeling like everyone was against her. So she took a step back at
and
that
and
moment.
that's not the case. We were not against her at all. At all. I was, really trying to be a nice person like I always am to everybody and try to
Hmm.
understand what's going on,
All
and
sides. Yes.
and so this last time, it's something blew up in the Discord again, right? I mean, and it's involving the same person, and um I don't know. What do you want to talk about your experience, like, so
Well, yeah,
just so that we
right, what I noticed was that this person was, accusing us of being in another cult because we were sharing
exactly.
ideas. We were sharing ideas,
Right.
and that's very triggering for some people to
Mhm.
leave a cult. And I feel like that person should have known better. You're an XJW, you know what it's like. And so it's not nice to accuse people of being in another cult. So when we're sharing ideas and that's what you're saying to us, it's not very nice. So that's when you jumped in, I jumped in, and this other person that's related to Ruby jumped in. And
Right.
it became a kind of a back and forth. And at this point, seeing as there were 3 strikes at this point,
Right.
Ruby's family member was very triggered by it and was like, all the claws were out. You were very
Mhm.
triggered because you felt like nothing ever gets done for this person to resolve this issue. And it's like happening over and over again. And from where I was
Right.
sitting, it felt like the idea of like when you're in a playground and a bully keeps bullying and no one does anything to intervene, and then finally the person being bullied, which would in my opinion was kind of you in that situation, without going into any details with exactly what was being said, and you
Mhm.
finally were like, defending yourself and saying, hey, don't treat me that way, and then the
Right.
next thing you know, it feels like now you're the bad guy with the owner of the
Somehow I ended up
Discord.
being the bad guy. Exactly. Because
And all
and then
yes.
so the how we got to that was I was hearing the issues from you guys. I had two other experiences with this one person who was the cause of these problems, and it wasn't handled the first two times. So here we are, another problem with the same person, and I just wanted, you both to be heard by,
Mhm.
and it doesn't matter what I say, okay? Because as an admin, it's just like a little fake title. Like, who cares? You, as members of this Discord, right, group, you want to know that the person who owns the Discord actually cares about your experience, about what's going on in the Discord. That's what the
Exactly.
feedback I was getting from both of you.
Well, exactly, and
Like,
I brought this analogy up before. I feel like being the owner of the Discord, if you have management, which I would have considered you and this other person at the time being moderators, and you see that they're having issues, and this is the third time there's been an issue with this one person again,
mhm,
you want to take aside your management and have a conversation and work through those things. And then after you fix that and work things out, like I felt at the time that this person should no longer be a moderator because this was happening too much and she was antagonizing everybody all the time. So
mhm,
for me, I was like, I just think, the moderator thing isn't for this person. So, I, from where I was sitting, it's like once you talk to management and you work through that with those people, then you need to talk to the customers, which was me and Ruby's family member. Like, you need to check in with them to make sure that as members of your Discord, they're okay.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I felt, and so did Ruby's family member, we both felt like we were not being heard, and also that she didn't care about our feelings. So
Yeah.
when you finally brought it together and had us all come together, and you were really trying to tell her, hey, like, can we just have a conversation? They just want to be heard. And then we finally got her on the phone, so to speak, and the way she talked to you, I think you should explain how you felt in that moment.
Okay. So before that, before we
Mhm.
get to that,
Yes.
the whole thing was that this person, I did not want them kicked out of the Discord,
Yeah. No,
right?
none of us did. We all were very adamant
None of,
about that.
yeah, and you had put it in the chat even because she wanted to leave the conversation totally, and she's like, I'm leaving this conversation. And we didn't even want to leave the conversation.
No, I wanted her to be able to talk to us, you know? Mhm.
Right, exactly. Like let's just talk about it. And so I reached out to Shauna because she's the owner of the Discord.
Mhm.
And
I just want to verify, Shauna's my good wife fixing my faith.
oh, right,
Same
exactly.
person. Mhm.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't clarify that before.
Yes, okay.
So when it actually blew up even worse the next day because um, somebody that I invited there that I care about very much and has a lot of value, was adding a lot of value, um, was upset that this other person might go and report that person.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. And without giving
Yeah,
names, let's say this person was
right,
not an XJW.
right.
So this
Yeah.
person is seeing this take place, which makes it
Mm-hmm.
look really bad.
Really
So I just
bad.
want to add that.
Really bad.
Not an XJW. I just want to clarify that part.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So, so I was really upset because that person left the Discord. Um, and so I reached out to Shauna, Fixing My Faith, and Good Wife, whatever. Um, and I said, this is a real problem. Like, I'm really upset right now, whatever. And she said that I'm like, listen, why don't we talk to this other person? Um, and and basically just lay it out, like say I said I will talk to her and say, listen, we really can't have this anymore in the Discord. Like, I can't do it. I can't do that anymore. Have you attacking all the time, because now you're upsetting a lot of people, because it was you and this other person and Ruby's relative. And so a lot of people were getting upset, but I didn't want this person gone. So I said, let me just talk. Let me just, you and me can call and have a conversation with her. And she goes, I'm going to kick her out. And I'm like, no, I'm like, don't do that, because she still had somebody else in the Discord and she has friends there. Hello. And she was adding value. I have to say, she was adding value to the Discord because she had a certain thing that she would do on a day and talk to people, and it was helpful for people. So I did not want her to go, and I asked to just have a conversation between the three of us, and that I would basically say, um, we really can't have this anymore. This is the third time you've done this, whatever, right? So I get a message back that says, whoops, she's already gone. Oops, she's gone already. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
So
I
you
was like,
discipleshipped her. That's pretty much what it's like. You shunned her. You got rid of her. And we didn't
it
want
was
that.
bad.
I
I was
want
like,
to
this is going to cause more problems
Yeah.
than it's worth. Like, because this person is friends with people. People are going to talk. This is normal, by the way, that people talk.
Right. And
Uh,
Shauna doesn't understand that. She isn't able to wrap her head around it because she's not an ex-JW. That's the other thing that is crucial to this story, is that she's
yeah,
running an ex-JW Discord and she doesn't know how to properly handle ex-JWs. And so what she did is the worst thing, I believe, in an ex-JW's mind you can do, is kick someone out, shun them, disfellowshipping, same thing. So,
It's the same. It's the same thing, exactly.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
so then I'm like, oh wow, this is not good. This is what I'm thinking. This is not good. But we still had to have our conversation. Shauna still needed to have a conversation with you guys, and she pretty much, it was like pulling teeth trying to get her to talk to you guys, and I didn't understand why. Like, she's like, well, I created a group for them, and somebody left the group. Like, it was just a little text group, like in the Discord. So
Mhm.
I don't know why that mattered, but um so my dogs are making noise in the background. um yeah, so that became a thing, and I was just thinking, well, oh yeah, she said, so she created this group, and she said they could reach out to me anytime, and I'm like, but they're waiting for you to reach out to them. It's your Discord. It's your thing. Like, they
Right,
don't.
and the way she reached out to us, I'll tell you this part of our story, both me and Ruby's, family member. She literally wrote to the both of us in one message, not personal messages to either of us, and said, "FYI, I deleted the messages, or I deleted the comments that had happened publicly." That was her way of reaching out. She did not reach out in a kind or professional manner to say, "Hey, I heard what happened. I just want to make sure you guys are okay." No, no, no. It was nothing like that. It was one simple kind of rude, matter of fact statement saying, "Just FYI, I removed everything."
Hmm.
That was it. That was it.
Yeah, and obviously, like, everything got scrubbed again from the whole Discord, because that's how it is, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, so after this, I mean, do you want to jump to the part
We
where
all got on the
we were
phone
talking? Or, oh, okay, yeah.
because
So
then
we
we
get
got on
on
the
the
phone
phone. We
with
get on
her,
the phone
the four of
with,
us. It's the four of us, you, me, Shauna,
yeah,
and then Ruby's family member. We get on
right.
the phone,
And actually, Ruby was supposed to be there, but she disappeared, which was very
which is
interesting.
very suspect. Yes, that's another part of the story.
Yeah.
Because
So,
We felt like Ruby and Shauna were talking behind the scenes. It just felt that way. So that's why that's
oh yeah,
relevant to what. Yes. So Shauna
right,
finally
because she
gets
was
on.
supposed to be there. She said that she was going to be there, and then all of a sudden she disappeared. And Shauna gets on the phone, and the first thing she says is, "Okay, Culty, you called this meeting. What do you want?" And I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, I thought I explained it earlier, but okay. Um, I wasn't expecting to be attacked like that, but okay. The
Right. And
girls just, like I
I was
said, the
taken
girls
aback
just
by
want to
that.
know.
Yep.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
And so I said, the girls just want to know that you care about them, and that you are there to hear their experience on the Discord of what happened.
Hmm.
So
And also, I thought that she'd be interested. You think that someone running a Discord
would
who
want to
just found
know.
out, yeah, that a bunch of stuff just took place would want to know, well, what happened? Like a simple what
Yeah.
happened. But it was like she
Mm-hmm.
didn't even care. She was just like the way her tone of voice, and how she talked to you was very revealing to me. I was like, whoa, bro. And then just like feeling like it was rushed. Every time she would talk, it was like, okay, what's going on, and what do you want to, like,
Oh
what are we gonna
yeah.
talk about? You know what I'm saying? It was never like
Right. It was very rushed.
very rushed. Like she doesn't have time to be bothered with this, you know? It's like, then why are you running a Discord? Like, I get it if maybe
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in your life, but then you should not be running a Discord. And when
Mm,
you wanted to help out, and when, there were conversations that should have been had where it seemed like you were willing to step up, she didn't want you to do step up. It was like she'd say,
right.
she'd act like she wanted to, but then she didn't want to. And then it's like she doesn't have time for it. It was very mixed messages that
Right.
everyone was feeling from her vibes. So when she
Right.
came in that day and we were talking on the phone, I tried to, after she talked that to you that way, I wanted to, like, calm everything down and I just started talking and telling her how I was feeling. And
Mm,
the takeaways I got from it was that even though she was saying that she didn't want for these things to take place, it was like they took place. It is what it is. One thing that triggered Ruby's family member was that she said that she didn't like the word triggered. Shauna did
mm,
not like the word triggered and she just didn't, there was nothing about it she liked, and she just didn't like hearing about it. And she also didn't like how we as XJWs, or a lot of XJWs, or whatever, I don't know how you want to word it, like too many define themselves by being XJW, and that
Yeah.
she was hoping one day we could see ourselves as more than XJW. And even though I understand what she's saying, I just felt like in that moment it was not an appropriate thing to say, because all it did was make Ruby's family member very upset, and which
Mm.
led to us leaving the Discord. I mean, literally. That whole conversation, literally, she felt
Well,
like Shauna didn't
she also
care.
insinuated that I didn't follow the rules. And I'm sorry, but we're dealing with people, human beings with feelings that I actually care about. So I'm sorry I didn't follow one of your rules, but you have to be very flexible in these situations when there are people's feelings that you're dealing with here. People are
Mhm.
very hurt. People are triggered by things, and you need to talk it out. You can't just say, "Oh, this is the rule. I have to follow the rule." Um,
Right. I
yeah.
also
So,
found it very interesting that she accused Ruby's family member of being derogatory in one of the statements that she had made to this person we're talking about that we were having issues with. And then fast forward to, what was it, last week, when someone was attacking you in the chat, and she told you to listen to it in a different voice.
oh yes,
Do
yes,
you remember that?
yes, yeah.
I found that very
She said
fitting,
something like that. Yeah.
because we told her
I
pretty
was
much
like,
the
you don't
same
need to
thing.
tell me. I'm sorry, but you don't get to tell me how I'm supposed to interpret what's being said.
through
Like,
through text. But I found it very interesting because she did the same
mm,
exact thing in this situation. She could have listened to it in a different voice with
yeah,
Ruby's family member, but instead she assumed that what Ruby's family member was saying was derogatory and rude through
yeah,
text. It's like,
exactly.
I just wanted to throw that out there because Shauna
Well,
is a hypocrite in my opinion, and has double
and
standards.
the other thing about the whole situation was that okay, so Ruby happened to pop in, if you remember, at the very last moment
Oh
when
yeah,
Shauna was saying
just when
goodbye,
Shauna
and
was
she said,
leaving.
yeah, when we were wrapping up our conversation, she
How
just happened to
convenient.
pop in at that moment
Yeah.
and say, and then Shauna was just like, "Oh, hey, Ruby, I'll talk to you privately." Interesting, interesting.
Right. And those little
Um,
cues made us realize something down the road. We started putting two and two
yeah,
together.
exactly.
Hmm.
So they were obviously talking behind the scenes. So then I find out. So after all of this happens, it's like suddenly I'm no longer an admin. Um, I'm being given Ruby's coming back, and I'm no longer an admin.
Because
And
I want
it's
to
just
say,
like,
I want to fill people in. We during this happened within a weekend. And we were talking with Ruby and Ruby's family member throughout this whole
oh
thing.
yeah,
And Ruby's
right,
family member, even before she talked on the phone with Shauna, she wanted to leave the Discord. Remember? She's fight or flight. She wanted to
yeah.
leave right away. And we were like, wait, let's take a
She
minute.
was really upset.
She was
Hmm.
upset from the jump, right? And we were all like, even
Yeah,
Ruby was like, wait, we're all like, wait, let's talk, let's figure this
yeah,
out. So our
right,
original plan was we were going to talk to Shauna, and then Ruby said she was going to talk to Shauna, and then we were going to make our decision as to how we felt about the situation after the fact. That's how
right,
our original plan was.
right. And I was still trying to be like even extra nice about it, like to Shauna. Like I was gonna work with Ruby, but then I spoke with Ruby, and they had ideas about they want to get rid of all the creator tabs. If they're not active in the tab, and that wasn't even part of the whole thing. Like had wanted it. I had more respect for what Shauna wanted than Ruby did, because Ruby just said, I have a vision for the server, and she comes in with this whole, okay, this is what she wants to do. She wants to get rid of mods. And oh, that's the other thing, when she got rid of this other person, she also wanted to get rid of like their closest friend for no reason. And I was like, wait, what? You want to kick out this other person too, who had nothing to do with anything? Like, why?
Like their
Why?
package deal. Like
Like
they
they're a
treat it like
package
they're
deal,
one in the
like
sale.
by
Yeah, one in the
guilty by
same.
association? Like what?
Hmm.
But she didn't, thank God, because that would have just caused more problems.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So where were we with this?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that we were all
Yeah,
trying to stay calm and rational,
yeah,
not let our emotions take over. Okay.
exactly.
And then by the end of it, after Ruby's family member had some time to think, she reached out to us and said she was
Yeah.
leaving. Remember, she
Yeah.
said, "Here's my phone number. I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore." And what happened is you and I got on the phone with her. But while this was going on, you were having a personal conversation with Ruby. Were you not? Like, that's why Ruby thought you guys were
Yeah.
good. I know Ruby felt
Right.
blindsided because you guys were
Yes.
having your own conversation, right? You can,
Right.
like, Ruby made you feel like you guys were working as a team, but then you found out
Right.
later that it was all pretty much a lie, that Ruby actually was talking to Shauna probably behind the scenes.
Well, because what happened was Ruby said some things to me that I thought um, were just off the wall, because she said to me that if she was there, she would have handled it. And what she meant by handled it was, she explained to me, she's like, I would have timed this other person out. And here we go back to the same old thing. We're talking about moderators timing each other out. And I don't think that's the way you handle things. I said, Ruby, like, I understand that that's how you think I didn't handle it somehow, but I did handle it, because I would rather talk to somebody. Just like I wouldn't time you out when this person was begging me to time you out. I wouldn't do it to you because you're a
Which,
moderator,
because
and
you're
I think that we
adults.
can,
We're
because
kind of
we're
like
adults,
adults.
we can talk it out. Now you're saying I didn't handle something because I didn't time her out? No, that's not. No, I don't work like that.
It's like a game. Both of those two
It's
moderators,
like
Ruby
children.
and the other person, instead of handling it like adults and like, hey, let's have a conversation, their answer for both of each other was to time the other person out. And then
Give them a
they threw
timeout.
you,
They're
and
not
they threw,
children.
no, and they threw you
Yeah,
in the middle a lot of times. Like, it
exactly.
made you feel like you were in the middle or had to make choices. And it's like, wait a minute, you guys are
Well,
both moderators. Like back when you
ex-
put her on a timeout. Why are you telling me
that's
to put her on a timeout?
that's a great point, because yeah, exactly. See, this other person could have timed out Ruby, but she wanted me to do it. Why? Because
So
she
you
wanted me to
objected.
get the flack from it,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And the same with Ruby. Like, now she's saying when she comes back, she would have timed her out. And I don't operate like that. I
No.
just, no,
You
we
and
can
I
talk
both
it
do
out.
not operate like that. We don't time people out. We
And
don't
I don't
block
kick people
them
out.
from
Like,
chats on Political Corner. We would never do that. We talk to people like mature adults. And we will get to the point why we went on her
yeah,
channel, because people are going to be like, well, wait a minute. Well, we will get
this
to
is
that.
all backstory. So,
Yes.
which
Mhm.
is necessary backstory.
So then we were talking to Ruby's family member, and she was like, I'm going to leave. And we were like, okay, let's get on the phone. And we talked to her for quite a bit at
Oh,
this
yeah.
point, right? Because we were like,
Yeah.
we wanted to hear her story, wanted to hear what was going on, and it was very interesting. So at this time, you were actually willing to work with Ruby. You were ready
Yeah, I was.
to go forward, even though Shauna treated you so badly, in my opinion. You were super nice. You were even you told me recently, you went back and looked at some of your chats, and you were so nice to Shauna after she was so rude on the phone with you. You were like, thank you for, talking with the girls. I mean, super, super
Yeah.
sweet, super, super nice,
Yeah.
right? So you were willing to move forward, do this, in my opinion, they're walking all over you, disrespecting you.
Well,
You were willing to work with
yeah.
people, right?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
here's the thing, is like, she said, "Did you talk to Ruby?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she has some ideas, and she wants to um pretty much get rid of the creator tabs if there's no activity in there." I suggested that we could, and I told her this. I said, I suggested we could have a meet the creator month. This way you can get that dialogue going between the creator and the other members. I
Yes.
thought that was the perfect solution to get some more dialogue going between
That's
people,
genius.
rather than just again getting rid of people,
Well,
right?
that's genius, and that's why we're using it in our Discord, because you have genius
Hello.
ideas. Hello. Yes. Because we are all about connecting people and getting to know people. We're
Yeah,
not about separating people, dividing and power and conquering. That's the difference.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. So we were talking to this family member. She was adamant about leaving. So then we came up with a plan, because what happened was what she was telling you, and this is why you ended up blocking Ruby, because she was making you feel and telling you the things. She was having private conversations with Ruby as she's family member. Of course she would, but pretty much telling you that Ruby was being opportunistic, which she was. Now that we look back on everything,
Mm-hmm.
and so you felt like Ruby stabbed you in the back, kind of, right? Like you were going to work with her, but now you're
Yeah.
realizing
But
that
I'm
she's being
realizing, okay, this is like Ruby's taking this as an opportunity to come in and just
and
take
take over
everything over.
with
And
Shauna.
that's why I
Mhm.
asked Shauna too, like, well, you know, I don't understand why you're removing me as an admin after all of this happened.
But it was a play on words. She was telling you she was like assigning you a certain term, but then
Yeah,
also taking away all the power, right? Because you found that out when we
yes.
opened up our own Discord, right? You found
I
out
found out about the
that she was
permissions.
yes, that she was
You can
keeping
give
permissions.
people, you can give someone any permissions that you want to give them, and you can just call it something else, you
Right.
know?
You can call them
So
whatever you want. You can say you're
you
the
could take,
admin and give
so
them literally no permissions, right?
yeah, so I told her, I'm like, well, I enjoy creating the channels for you and blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, well, you can still do that. But then here's what I noticed when I went back into, she asked me, oh, can you create this channel or whatever for me? And this is after she removed me as an admin. And she said, oh, can you create this channel for me? I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So I went to do it. And guess what? I couldn't do it. I didn't have the permissions anymore. She took it away. So I'm like, I don't have the permissions anymore. What are you talking about? Like, so so then she's like, oh, sorry, just a minute. So then she goes and does whatever behind the scenes. Now I
Yes.
know because I have a Discord. But
Mhm.
and so she gives me the permissions, and I'm like, oh, I see what's happening here. Every time they want me to do something, they're going to give me the permission, and then they're going to take it
Take it
away.
away.
And then if they want me to do something, they're going to give it to me again. And I was like,
Like a little
that's not
kid.
trust.
You have
That's
to go
not
to
trust.
mommy. You have to go to mommy,
But
ask for permission every time.
mommy watchtower, that's right.
Control. It's all about control
Yeah,
for Shauna. It is.
right.
Keeping it real.
So yeah, that's how it was. So I was like starting to see like, oh, okay, I get it. She just wants to take this away so that she can, you know, have more control. And ironically, she was always saying that, oh, I don't really want to be bothered with this stuff. You girls can handle it, whatever. And it's like that was not true, because anytime I did try to handle anything, it was like, what did you do? What did
She'd
what
gaslight
happened?
you. She would
And then
gaslight
it's
you.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, totally. Because then when I asked her, to just talk to you guys, it was again like it was like
Pulling teeth, yeah.
pulling teeth.
And
So
also she was telling you two different things. She'd go to tell Ruby, because Ruby would tell us that, like, for
yeah,
example, that person that she said she supposedly got rid of out of the Discord, she told us she got rid of her. Oops. But she told Ruby that
oops, yeah,
the person had left of their own accord. So that was the other thing we were noticing with Shauna. She was telling one person one thing and then a completely different story to other people. So that seemed two-faced, right?
yeah. And I
We
still
couldn't
don't
trust
know.
her.
I still don't know to this day like what really happened between them, because I was hoping for a conversation between the three of us, and that didn't happen. She just said, "Oh, whoops, she's already gone," and she did say she was going to kick her. So I
Right.
just,
And hopefully
yeah,
if this person is watching and she knows who she is, that we're keeping her
mm-hmm,
anonymous because
right,
we respect the situation. We are open to
absolutely,
talking to you and we want you to know that we had nothing to do with that and we never
right,
wanted you to leave.
absolutely.
So,
I didn't want her to leave because she, like I said, she was adding value in the Discord.
no. Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, yeah, she was um, upsetting some people, but I still feel like, if we just
We could
had
have
a
worked through it.
conversation, if I
Yes.
just said, listen, so and so, you got to stop doing this. It's really causing a problem now for a lot of people. I think we could have talked it out,
And
because
also,
I had
yeah,
many conversations with this person. That's one thing I feel like I could always talk to this person.
Right, and you could listen to her, or she'd reason and stuff with you, and that's the
Yeah,
thing is that Shauna kept trying to avoid things. That's the problem. Her way of dealing with stuff was to
yeah,
avoid, erase, avoid, and that's not how. And I had told both you and Ruby, I said, this is gonna explode. If after the
yeah,
second time it happened and I was aware, I was like, this is going to, if Shauna does not handle this and she keeps like shoving it under the rug, it's just gonna explode. And that's exactly what happened.
that's what
So
happened.
what Shauna should have done is gone to this person and said, "Look, I think this moderator thing, it might be a little too much for you. We want you to be here. We appreciate what you have to offer. We're still going to let you do events or whatever, but like the moderating thing, let's just take a step back from that. Let's just
Yeah,
put a pin in it."
yeah,
And I told that person, I said, and I tried to be nice about it. I was like, I think maybe just moderating is too stressful for you, or it's just not for you, But that doesn't mean we don't want you here. I just don't know if
absolutely.
moderating
Nobody
is
ever said that. Nobody
no.
ever said that.
Yeah, no. So then going
Yeah,
back to, we were talking to Ruby's family member and she wanted to leave.
yeah.
What happened is that she got you all revved up unintentionally. And so then you blocked Ruby and you were like, okay, I can't trust Ruby. I feel like I've been her biggest cheerleader. I've supported her. Tell us all the ways you've supported Ruby throughout the years. Like you really supported Ruby. You have lots of things you've done from financially.
Oh
You've done,
gosh. Well, yeah. I mean, it's only like a couple dollars, but I was a
it
member.
doesn't matter.
Um,
Many people
when
haven't. So I'm saying that you have supported Ruby in places and ways that other people haven't. You were one of her, just like me. I was her biggest cheerleader. So were you.
Yeah. Well,
You defended
you
her.
were really, I mean, there was always a little bit of caution with me with Ruby. I just always had that little bit of caution because I felt like
In your gut.
there was
Mhm.
resistance there,
Okay.
and I didn't understand why. And even after I kind of understood why with the Mindful Warrior, I became I became a member of her channel after that. And um,
That's what I'm
she
saying.
had that disaster where she lived in Florida. I donated to that. I won't say what it was. I mean,
But
wasn't
still,
a lot
I'm just
a lot of
saying,
money or
you were
anything,
her
but
one
yeah,
of
I
her
supported
biggest
her.
supporters. You and I were at her every show. I was in there
Oh,
helping
yes,
her.
that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
Okay.
we
I
were at
was
her.
all, yeah, I was
You
all
would keep
in.
the time for her. You would
Yes,
keep time for them.
I stand by what
Yeah,
I said. I treated her like she was a sister. And I'm not talking
yeah,
a Watchtower sister. I'm talking about a blood sister.
real sister.
I'm a
Right,
sister. Like
exactly.
I feel about you. You are like
Yeah,
a sister to me. So
yeah,
that was like, that's why it affected me so much. So when we talked to her family member, we honestly thought that maybe Ruby would leave with us. But then we
right.
saw that side of her, that she was opportunistic.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to control just like Shauna, and we realized they were both
Yeah,
very similar, right?
they're very similar. They both want to control a lot of control over other people, and yeah,
Mhm.
and how they
Yes.
behave and how they
Yes.
behave.
Yeah.
So,
So we were surprised by that, and that's why we left. Like
mm-hmm,
that was another additional thing. Like that's why I didn't tell Ruby I was leaving. I later on I did, reach out to her, and I said the only thing I feel a little bad about was that I didn't tell you I was leaving. But the reason I
mm-hmm,
didn't was because in the moment I thought you were being opportunistic and you were hurting you. I thought she was hurting you. So it was like, I didn't think that was right. So I just felt like I felt really bad about the situation. And at the time, I was like, well, that's not right. And so I chose to leave with you and Ruby's family member.
right.
Okay. And we opened up
So we leave
our
the,
Discord.
and I
Mhm.
just said, well, if we're going to leave, we need a place to go. And that's when we
We all
started
agreed.
our Discord. And
Mhm.
originally it was a Discord of 3 people. It was you, me, and this other family member of Ruby's.
Yes.
So we were going to do this thing. And the very first night, it was great. It was like
It was
fun.
amazing.
We had a great time.
I would say the
Um,
first couple of days it was good. It wasn't until midweek where we kind of had reconciled. You had reconciled, and everyone, we had talked to Ruby, and if we felt like we were
mhm.
good again, and
Yeah.
next thing you know,
I didn't even know there was a problem. Like, I mean, I'm sure you didn't either. Like, we, as Ruby likes to say, we got ambushed. We were the first ones to get
well,
ambushed.
after we had, like, after I had already aired out how I felt with Ruby and told her, hey, I felt bad, like I didn't mean to blindside you, but also in all fairness, I thought she would have left with us, to be honest. So like,
I
I was
thought
kind
so
of a little
too.
taken back by that, but whatever, we were like, that's fine, we love you regardless. Well, then when you
And
know,
I have to say that she did say at some point, I can't remember exactly when, but she said that she felt like she needed to stay and save people. Like she felt very like it's her duty to
save
save the
everyone.
XJWs or something.
Yeah,
I
she said
don't
she wanted
know.
to save everyone, but that's also very interesting after the fact that what we've seen so far since
Mm,
then. Because
mm,
if you really want to save and you don't want to divide people and all that stuff, how you've acted has been very divisive and very
yeah,
like pushing
right.
people away and like blocking us. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So
So we created this Discord. We're having a decent time about it, and um, then this person of Ruby's relative approached us and said, "Hey, I reached out to Ruby, and I really would like to invite her into the Discord." And I was so happy. I was
yeah,
like, "Yeah, that's great. It'll be, the
it'll be
four of
like
us
old
again,
times again.
whatever."
Yeah,
Yeah,
back
exactly.
at it.
And
Mhm.
so things I was excited about that. Like,
We all
cool,
were.
she's
Yeah,
gonna stay in the other one, which I knew and I'm okay with.
yeah, we were
And
fine.
there are other people that are in that Discord still that are in our Discord too. And
And we
that's
love them
okay. I
just the
don't
same.
care.
No,
Exactly.
we never
Like,
ever wanted anyone to take
never
sides. We
asked
just
anybody, right? We
no,
never asked anybody to leave or take
w-
sides or
we
anything.
just wanted what was best for us. And in that moment, I felt like Shauna
Right.
was taking advantage of you. You felt that way. And then we felt
Mm-hmm.
Ruby was being opportunistic. And we just felt like it wasn't a
Yeah.
very safe space anymore. That's all. And
Right.
also, it was like eggshells. You can't even post anything without feeling like, oh, should I be saying this or not? It was weird. It was crazy. Okay. So then
Yeah.
fast forward. So Ruby came in. She was in there for a whole
So
2 hours.
yeah. Yeah, it was like it blew up as soon as Ruby got there. So we were having the private conversation between just the three of us, you, me, and this one other person. And suddenly, Ruby and her relative enter into the um, conversation.
At the same
Ruby
time,
is on
coincidentally. It was
one after
like
the other. Boom, boom.
so they had
Yeah.
to have been talking or they had to be yes, it was too coincidental.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was too
Mhm.
coincidental. Like they both decided at the same time to come in, but it like we knew, it was like that. It wasn't that day that they joined. It was that day, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He
So,
was
and
literally in
this
the
was like,
server. Ruby was there for
yeah,
2 hours when this
yeah.
happened.
Okay,
So
that's
he had
right.
just been there. Yes.
So, so we're in there with this person, and Ruby and this other person comes in at the same exact time, and um, Ruby stays on mute completely. We're like, "Hi, Ruby,"
Right.
and
All
we
of us
said hello
addressed
to the
her.
other person.
The person
Sorry.
the all of us addressed her, even the person that was in there that didn't know Ruby and this other and her family member,
Right.
right?
That's the thing is this person is a friend of mine who did not know
Either of
either
those
one of
two.
them really.
Mhm. Yes.
So, um,
We said hi to her. She didn't
uh,
say hi. She stayed on mute. She
right.
was just in there like creeping. And then the family
Yeah.
member of hers was talking. So you can start
Well,
there. Mhm.
yeah, she wasn't really
They heard the
talking
end of the
though because
conversation. No, they heard the end of the
they heard
conversation.
a part
It came
exactly.
at the
They've
end of our conversation, and that's when things
yes.
got crazy because Ruby's family member heard some things that was like between the three of us that we were talking about with this other person that they had never met, and then was like, "Whoa, like who are you guys talking about?" And I don't know if I feel comfortable with this person being in our Discord, right?
Right. Yeah. And again, this is another person that she never even met. Neither one of them have ever even met this person. But because they heard a little something that maybe they thought would be a problem, which I have talked to this person numerous times and they were never a problem. And this was just an opinion of someone else. And they took it as like, they took that and ran with
Written in
it. And
stone.
suddenly it was a huge problem
Huge
for
deal.
both of them.
Yes.
Oh, and all of a sudden, you're a hypocrite because you left the other server because of so and so, this other person, and now you're going to have a problem in this server with this person. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, calm down, because there is no problem. You're jumping ahead. You're saying there's going to be a problem when
They're
there
trying to
is not
it was
going to
like
be a problem.
it was like they were trying to manifest a problem.
Because then that's when Ruby got off of her, got off the mute button suddenly and
And
called
she
me a
ambushed
hypocrite.
us. Wait a minute.
Ambushed
At this
us.
point, it was like an ambush.
Yeah, because she hadn't
Ruby,
even said hello. We were like, "Hi, Ruby,"
yes, she ambushed us and just like pounced.
and pounced on it.
She
And
let her family member talk and say what she wanted to say, and then she waited for the perfect moment to pounce and say, "You're being a hypocrite, Culty. You know, you guys said you left the other server because you felt uncomfortable, and now you have someone in here that could be make it uncomfortable, a problem, right?"
which is not a problem. It hasn't been a problem, and is not going to be a problem. So there is no
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
with with
So
this
both of
person.
them had they were starting to get raised. I mean, she had a raised voice. She was very attacking.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can't duplicate what happened there, because it was like, it was
It was
crazy. Like,
crazy.
both of them at the top of their lungs screaming.
Yes.
And
And then I had said, I had said to the family member, I said, we did not mean to trigger you or upset you. Like, you literally had come in at the end of the conversation that, you weren't even supposed to be a part of technically. And no
right.
one wants like anything bad for you or your health or anything like that. And then it just seems like you're upset. And she was like, I'm not upset. I'm not angry. Remember that? I was like, well, you
Yeah,
sound
don't
angry.
don't say I'm
Remember?
upset. I'm not
Right.
I'm not upset.
Yeah, I said,
Yeah,
"Well,
she
you
got
guys, you
offended.
sound angry." And she was like, "No, no, we're Latina." She said, "That's how we
Yeah.
talk."
And I said, well,
Rem
I know Latinas, and I've never been talked to this way before.
Right, and then
And also they made a point to say that, oh gosh, now I'm losing my thought. I'm sorry, Michelle. Go ahead. You can pick up,
well,
because I,
for me, from where I'm sitting after I had time to think about it, I was like, "I'm sorry, but just because you're Latina does not give you a right to come in, ambush, yell, make a big scene, and especially in front of someone you've never met before." It was embarrassing.
exactly.
I was
Yeah,
embarrassed for
and that's
them
the other thing, is
and
they were
embarrassed
saying,
for this person. I was
and
embarrassed
they
all
kept on
around.
saying, well, Culty didn't tell us about this, and I'm like, well, there's nothing to tell. There's literally nothing to tell.
Yeah, she wanted you to give some kind of warning and say, "Hey, maybe we should have talked about this ahead of time. And
Oh
if I
yeah,
had known that this person was this way." And so that's when I had said, we both had said, "Well,
it's
no,
very
this person is only
strange.
known to be somewhat of a know-it-all." And that's when I brought up the point, "Hey guys, we all love Jimmy, but to some
Yeah,
people, remember I said to some people, Jimmy
yeah,
may
that's
come
right.
off and rub people the wrong way as a know-it-all, but we still
Right,
have great conversations with Jimmy. We
right.
have never held that against him." And
Never had
so,
a problem with them.
yep. And so here we are again. You're making a bigger issue out of things than needs to be. And that got to the point where the person that was there was uncomfortable. And then that person started
Yeah,
saying, "Hey, whoa,
got
like,
really uncomfortable.
right. And you don't even really know me. You don't have to take my word," or like, that's kind of how where it was
Yeah,
going. Like, wow, like you just met me. And that's what I said. I said, "You just met this
yeah.
person and you're taking the word of this person, and no offense to the person, but it's like,
Over us. And
right.
I know this person. I know both of
This
the
other
people.
person, yes, that were
And
involved. Mhm.
I said, do you think I would really do that? Like, I wouldn't have that person
Or
here
make
if it was
it
going
an
to be a problem.
uncomfortable
And it
situation.
got so bad and so elevated that I
You asked her,
literally said, what would you like me to do?
like, yeah,
What can I do for you right now? You tell me what you want, because I'll do it,
yeah, you were ready to get rid of the person, do whatever it took, right, to make her happy. Yep.
to make her
But
happy, because
and then
she
what did
was the one of
upset?
the original ones that we created this thing
Yes,
with.
we did it
So
with
of
her.
course I'm gonna
Make
stand
her
by my friends,
comfortable.
because that's the kind of girl I
But her
am.
response was telling. Remember, what did she say to you when
Hmm,
you said, "What do you want me to do? Tell me what you want me to do right now." What did she say to you?
I don't want you to do anything. She's like, I don't want you to do anything. So
You
it's
could
like,
not
well,
make this
okay.
stuff
So
up
what
if
was
you
the
tried.
point of the whole
Blow up.
bringing all of this up if nothing was going to be done, right?
Right.
and she never wanted anything to be done. So
Okay, so before that
yeah.
even happened, I wasn't involved
Mm.
in you asking her that. I had already left, and I want to explain my
Oh,
side.
okay.
So when Ruby started coming in, guns blazing, or like, whoa, I was trying to, like I said, calm things down. That's when I had made the
Yeah.
statement saying, hey, you weren't even, we didn't mean to offend or upset or whatever. And technically, you weren't even
Yeah.
supposed to hear that. And that's when she said, well, I can leave if you want me to leave. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, this was not our intention for any of this to be a problem. Right. And so as I
Because
was
there
getting
was no problem. I have to bring it back to there was no problem. Go
right,
ahead.
other than what they were making it of. Okay, and so then
Yeah.
as I was feeling like they were attacking you, and then I was feeling like I couldn't calm people down and they didn't want to listen to me, I was feeling very overwhelmed because previously we had just left the XJW Discord, and so that was
Yeah.
a
It was
very
a drama-filled week.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a very emotional turmoil thing, and I was trying to
Yeah.
keep everybody together, and I always want everyone to get along, and so I
Yep.
think at that point it all just came tumbling down for me, and my emotions
Mm.
just like I was like, oh my gosh, it's coming, and I just flood works, right? So I had to leave, so I jumped off, and I know it seemed rude, but I reached out to you right away, and I said, I am so sorry I left. I was concerned even about, like, my first gut instinct was to apologize to both of those, Ruby and her family member, and you, because I didn't mean to be rude, but at the same time I was really upset, and so I also want to make
And
it clear to
I
you
have
that
to
I
tell
didn't
you,
want to be crying in front of
I was
anybody.
I was not in any way offended. I didn't even really think much of it. I kind of had an instinct that you were upset because
Yeah,
it was a very upsetting situation. I was trying to just stay calm in the moment and
yeah, you were calm as a
calm
cucumber,
people
girl.
down.
You were calm as a
I was
cucumber, and I was just like, I don't know what to do. Just
yeah,
I was just like falling apart, So, and
but
then
I
like,
understand that. I've had my own moments, right?
right.
We're human.
And
Again.
I might have cried in front of you and the girls, but I was not going to cry in front of that other person I just met.
Right.
No. I was
Exactly.
like,
Understandable.
embarrassing for me, embarrassing for that person. I'm like, I'm not going to put that person's already in a weird situation with this random
Yeah.
weird argument that's
Yeah.
unnecessary. And then I'm going to start bawling like, whoa,
Yeah, and everybody literally had just, this is a brand new Discord. We don't want all of this craziness like right out the
no.
gate. Like I thought this was going to be a fun experience. It has been since,
Oh,
but
right.
I
Right.
thought it was all going to be a positive, fun experience. That was the whole point
Right.
of this, right?
And so then, yeah. So then after that happened,
You
you
reach
were
out to me and you
and
did
you can
say,
yeah, and you're continuing the conversation, so I'm out of it now, and that's when you asked her, "What do you want me to do?" And she was like, "Nothing." And then what happened from then on? You guys just was it awkward, like, getting off, or did you all just hang up? What happened at that point?
gosh, that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's all such a blur because
Mhm.
everything just was like so chaotic. But I
Right.
remember, oh, right, okay. So I
Oh, yeah,
remember,
that's where it went. You think
they
that's where it
got
went?
angry. They got angry at
Ruby
you,
got
which
angry. I think Ruby got
yeah,
angry, and
yeah.
her family
She
member
said,
was like,
"What?
yeah,
Why
"Where did" yeah,
Where's Michelle? She couldn't even stay on the call."
"She doesn't
And that's
care," or
when
something.
I was looking at your texts and I was saying, "Okay, honey, like don't worry about it." I was trying to also,
Comfort
make
me
sure
and
you're
be there for
okay,
me.
right?
But didn't
And
Ruby
while
also
I'm
say
dealing
that
with
didn't she also
them
say,
on the
"I didn't
Discord,
care"? Didn't she say, "Where's Michelle? She doesn't even care," or something like that? Didn't she say
she said
care?
she doesn't
Yeah.
even care. She just jumped off the call. And I said, "Wait a minute." I said, "Michelle is really upset." Okay. So I also got upset because Ruby's relative said that she accused me of saying that you were angry at them. And I never said that. I said you were upset. In fact, I said, Michelle is crying right now. And when I said that, it was like, there was no kind of like, oh my gosh, is she okay? Or anything like that. No, it was just like, well, she couldn't even stay here for our phone call. She doesn't even care to stay. And I'm like, she's upset,
Yeah.
like,
And
what
that's
do
what
you
woke me up.
want?
That was a huge wake up factor for me with those 2, is that,
Yeah.
I in the history of me being friends with girls, If I know someone is crying or upset, my first reaction is to call them, text them, make sure they're okay. Okay. I would never, if I had a girlfriend who left so abruptly, I would be how you were, like, oh, she must be upset. That was your first guess, right? When I left, you didn't think that's my
Yeah.
character. That's not my character
No.
to just leave or be rude to people. I'm
Right.
sorry. That's not who I am. So
Either A, you have an emergency, or B,
something's
you're
upsetting me.
upset, which to
Yes.
me, I thought that was I mean, obviously it was a very upsetting situation. So that was the first thing I thought of was,
Right.
wow, she's
So
really, really upset.
right. So when you told me Ruby's reaction was she doesn't even care, that was eye opening for me. I was like, whoa, she's not who I think she is. Then when you had gotten off and you reached out, can I talk to you? We were on the phone. And then it looked like her family member wanted to talk to us. We get on with her right away,
Yeah.
right? We get on with her right away. And I was kind of blindsided by her because I did not know. I think she had already told you that she was wanted to leave. Didn't she already tell you before we talked to her that she wanted to leave the Discord or something? Didn't she make that statement
Wait,
or
the
something?
relative or
Yes,
Ruby?
the relative.
Yeah, towards
And
the
she
end of
said
the
I need to
conversation,
talk to
she
you
said
guys, right?
she has to leave. This is not good for her.
And she wants to
Which
talk to me and you, right?
which still nothing had happened with this other person, but she wanted to leave because this other person was in the Discord
Allegedly.
that she doesn't know.
The alleged problem would happen, and so she wanted to leave. Okay,
So I
so
was
she
like,
told you,
okay.
yeah, that she wanted to
I
talk
was
to
like,
us. So I get on with her, and I
yeah,
don't even know she wants to leave yet. I have not heard that at all. I get on
right.
with her and you, and the first words that come out of her mouth is, "I'm not upset with you guys or anything. I have love for you, but I need to
Yeah,
leave the Discord." And I was like, "What?" Like I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting her to say that. So I was like, "Wait a minute, wait. You want to
right.
leave?" Like, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's fine, but like I don't understand why you want to leave when like nothing has even happened. And then I said the subject came up because she was like, well, where did you go and why did you leave and yada yada. And then that's when she accused you of twisting words. She said, well, she said
Yes.
you were angry.
She said,
And then
yeah.
yeah, and then you were like,
And
no, 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 no.
I
I
said,
didn't
no,
say
no, no,
that. I
no. I
said
did
she was
not
upset
say
and
that.
crying. And so then I said to
Right.
her, I said, I was
I
crying
clarified.
because she was like, well, why did
Yeah.
you leave? And that's when I was like, mind boggled that she was actually asking me that when she knew I was crying. So I said, well, it was embarrassing. I didn't want to, cry in front of this person I've never,
Yeah.
this is my first time meeting. And she was like, well, I
Right.
would think you'd feel like okay with or comfortable, like us. I said but I don't know. I
Yeah.
just met this other person. Like, what are you talking about? And that's when I was
Right.
like, I was crying. Like I said it again. Like I was like in shock. Like I couldn't understand it because she not understand the words coming out of my mouth. So
It
then
bothered me. There was no empathy. It really
yes, it was
bothered me.
cold.
There was
It was like
no
cold.
putting yourself in
No, no, no.
herself
There
in
was
your
yeah,
position.
exactly. It was like cold hearted. I was like, whoa, you're
Yeah.
dead inside. So then I was like, let me ask you. I said, if Ruby or your sister or somebody in your family had left abruptly like that, I go, would you not have reached out to them and said, are you okay? And instead of answering my question, she goes, oh, now I see you for who you are. That's all I need to know. And then I
It
was in
was
my
just very
mind thinking,
bizarre. I didn't understand that.
no, I was like, whoa, bro. I was like, well, now I'm seeing who you are. You don't want to answer the question. Okay, like I don't get you at all. And then that's when
No.
she was like, well, I have to leave the Discord. And you and I were like, okay, well, do what's
Okay.
best for you. We care about you.
Right.
We want what's best for you. If that's what you think is best for
Right.
you, then we
And at
support
least the
you.
three of us were like, we care about you, to each other. We
Yes.
had those words. We were like, no hard feelings. We do care about you. And
So she
that was
left.
that.
Then Ruby straight followed her, and then her sister followed her. It was like 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. They all
Boom, boom,
left.
boom. They all
Yep.
left the
They all
Discord.
left. So
And that,
remember, tell the analogy we had about that. It felt like Ruby only came into our Discord to rip Tony out by her hair and get her
yeah,
out of
it,
there.
it felt
Right?
like that. That's how it felt. And I know that on the call that we had on the live chat, on Ruby's show, she denied that, but to this
That's what it
day, it
that's what
definitely
it
felt
looks
like
like.
that. Like
And
that
now
she came in here because she was upset that A, this person got real close to us and was
and she didn't like
creating
that.
something for herself now. She had and Ruby did not like that.
Yeah, she didn't like that she had another support system. It wasn't Ruby.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, it did feel
that's
like
how
that.
it
And
felt.
now fast forward to
I could be
now.
wrong.
her family member is back in the XJW Discord. So this is the funny thing too, that when she was set on leaving the Discord, she was fight or flight. We kept having to say, calm down, we'll work through this, yada, yada. And finally she said, I'm leaving. We left with her in solidarity, right? And she was like, I'm doing this. It's the principle. I don't like how Sean is treating Culty. I don't like how she's behaving. She's two-faced, the whole thing. And now she's back in the XJW
in the same
Discord.
You know,
and one other thing we need to add to this fact, what happened was there's two things that are very important to this story. One, that she didn't reach out to me or you when they left so abruptly and like overreacted, but they did reach out to that person they just met and apologize to that person. Let's make that clear. And I also want to make it clear that he's a male, because that's very pertinent to this story, because I feel like, especially Ruby, there's something about her and males. I feels like she's more apt to lean towards the male energy. And when it comes to females, and I mean,
all you have to do is watch her show and you'll see who's on there all the time.
Right. Okay. And then the second point that I want to bring up is how it felt like she was kind of using you to have access to some of your friends in other locations throughout Discord. Did you feel that way
because
too?
Definitely, because it was very strange to me that even though she beat it out of our Discord that we all created together and we're supposed to do together, she stayed in two of my friends' other Discords that I had literally just hooked her up with. She had been asking to get into the their Discords, and it was very strange because she doesn't know them, but she left the Discord that she was supposed to be with us.
Right.
So
and that we also
weird.
started putting puzzle pieces together. Like, we realized that her and Ruby had wanted to do maybe a spiritual corner. So we thought that maybe because some of your friends, are about that and enlightenment, and we thought maybe there was, maybe we were wrong, but this is how it came off. Like, you're getting access to these other groups of people, so you have possible content for your new idea.
Maybe. That's like
that's speculation,
speculative,
but that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Okay. So that was kind of like, wow. The whole thing was a wow moment. And then
it was a wow moment.
and then to fast forward to why we jumped on her show. Let's talk about that. Because you were sitting there in the chat. Okay, so let's just break this down. This happened on a Thursday. The following Tuesday was her political corner. No one had reached out to me. Ruby, nobody. Right after they all left, there was nothing to check in.
Nobody reached out to me either.
Right.
Nobody reached out to me either. It was very weird.
It was weird. Okay, so then
they just attacked us, left,
and could carelessly never speak to us again. Right. So then fast forward, you go to the political corner and you're in the chat, and you're hearing her talk. And what is she saying that gets you riled up about how real she is, things like that? What was she saying?
Yeah, just basically, her usual spiel about she's so transparent and she's so real and whatever. I don't even like.
Yeah, and this is the night
her usual spiel.
And this is the night that Mindful Warrior was on. Okay, so you're listening to her speak, and then you just can't take it anymore. And so finally, you get in the chat. And what did you say? You said, I think you talked about me. I think you brought. You said.
I said, have you? The very first thing I said is, "Hey Ruby, have you apologized to Michelle yet about
what happened?
What did I say? I can't even remember.
Well, she erased. Well, remember, I want everyone to know that she, Mrs. Transparent. If you go back to look at that video from Mindful Warriors, she turned off the chat because she's not transparent. Let's just keep this real here. This girl is not transparent. She is hiding the chat because she does not want people to see what we were saying in the chat. Okay?
Which is very much like Good Wife. Hello. Let's hide everything. And Watchtower. And Watchtower.
Thank you. Twinning. Exactly.
Twinning for Watchtower. Yes.
Yes. So you were saying things, and then I wasn't involved. You were just saying things because this was how you were feeling. You wanted to share your feelings.
It felt very two-faced to me. I'm not gonna like. I actually am a real person, and I'm gonna say what's on my mind.
And keep it
And
real.
yeah, and
And
this was not even an attack. It's just that we hadn't, like, she hadn't reached out or anything. And
and also I want to add to this. The reason
yeah.
why people say, "Oh, why did you not take this privately?" or "Why did you not do this privately?" I want to give
Mm,
a little context here. So
yeah.
back when you and her were on the outs and I came in to bridge the gap, or I was trying to bridge the gap, I had said to
Hmm.
her, "You know what? Get on the phone with her, get on the phone with Culty. I'm sure you guys can work this out, no problem." And her response to me was, "I don't need a one-on-one conversation with Culty. I'm fine." So
Mm,
I already saw a side of her where she doesn't want to talk. She doesn't want to do confrontation. She doesn't want to do one-on-ones, right? Then
mm,
fast forward to the situation where I reached out to her because I felt a little bad and I owned up to, hey, I probably shouldn't have blindsided you, but in all fairness, I felt like you were being opportunistic and choosing to stay and doing what you did to Culty. I just didn't agree with it, but I should have told you I was leaving and I'm sorry about that. I would feel comfortable. Can I get on the phone with you? Can we chat? And I tried
oh,
numerous
right.
times. I even asked her family member, can you please reach out to her? I really want to talk to her. I feel bad, yada, yada. Ruby's response was, I'm good. We're good. I don't need a phone
Everything's
conversation.
fine.
Everything's fine. Right. So now this is 2 times I've seen her not want to have a one-on-one conversation. So fast forward to the Tuesday political corner with Mindful Warrior and where you got upset. And she's so like, this could have been a private. No, honey. It couldn't have been a private conversation because you have already made it clear. One, you didn't reach out to us out of any concern to have a private conversation. You could have reached out. I've reached out to you numerous times in the past wanting to talk. This was your
Yeah.
chance to show you cared. I always show I
Right.
care. This was the
Right.
one time, Ruby, for you to say, you are my friend. You are going to reach out to me like I've always reached out to you and say, are you okay? Can we have a conversation? You didn't. Tuesday
Yep.
comes along and you get upset and you come in. And then what brought me into it was that I'm sorry. I'm throwing her out here. Rebecca. Yes, you.
Oh. Ooh.
And real love and a lot of these people that did not have a clue
I
what was
lost
going
audio
on.
again. Oh, sorry about that. My audio went out. I had to switch my headphones. I'm on the single now.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us. Technical
That's right.
difficulties. We're
Technical
working through them one at a
difficulties.
time. Okay, so what was that saying? Oh yeah. So I jumped on because I felt like people were bullying you in the chat. I didn't like what Del Real Love was saying to you. I didn't like how people were attacking you.
And
And
telling me to leave, telling me to leave. And
shut up.
in, here's the interesting thing, and it's happened more than just that one chat. It's like, uh, it's people saying, not to speak in public, and here they are in public telling me not to speak in public.
Right. That
Like,
was on Joe and Fran's live.
ironic,
Um, yeah,
ironic.
Rebecca was telling you, "Oh, it's okay if you want to talk, but you shouldn't do it publicly," as she's telling you publicly.
Yeah, and
Like
I just want
more
to say,
hypocrisy and double standards.
since you brought her up and Del Rilov, I have no problem with either one of you. I just want to say that. And I
Well,
never
I do.
have. I've always been kind to you.
Yes, that's true.
Um, and I really don't understand why you would do something like that, other than I understand you have some loyalty to Ruby because you
And so
watch her
did
show.
we. You guys have no clue.
But
Like
but
that's the
you
thing that
don't
bothers me.
know. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say what
And
you were
that's
going
the
to
thing that
say.
bothers me. I do have a problem with Del
Yeah.
Real Love, and I would be fine with having a conversation with her because I'm not a person that's going to time you out or silence you. I have no problem talking with you and working it through
Yeah.
and having a conversation with you. I have no problem having a conversation with Rebecca either. But right now, as of where we sit right now, I do not. I am not okay with how you treated Culty. I think it's wrong because you all know her the way she's been and her the way she is as a person. You've seen how sweet and understanding. So for me, when I saw that, I can tell you right now, if I did not have this relationship that I have with you right now, I would
Mm.
have been like, whoa, like there must be something going on and I want to know, like, is everything okay? I would not have said shut up, get out, whatever. I would have been
Yeah.
like, you have this reputation where you're a sweet person, you're get along with everybody, you want everyone to have a chance to be heard. So if I had
Yeah,
seen that
absolutely.
from you, I would have been like, I need to hear what she has to say. I want to hear her out. And I was really taken aback by these people who just right off the bat shut you out. Like it was almost like I'm sorry, but I hate bringing up XJW stuff, but it was that all over again. It's like, no, 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 we don't want to hear about it. No, apostate lies. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
no,
yeah.
like,
That's a good
no,
point.
girl. Yeah, it's like don't have that mentality. Let people
Yeah.
speak and let people have a chance to, hear them out. And it's not like we're telling you.
Unfortunately, this is what we see in this community now. Like it's becoming very clear, like there are only certain people who they want to be
To
heard.
speak.
And anyone else, if you have something to say, now it's come to the point where people have to get on other people's shows and say, oh, well, we need to make sure that you're not saying something in the chat area that we don't agree with. But come on our show and you can say anything you want, but they don't mean it. Because if you did go on the show and you had something to say, if it was you or me, suddenly it's a
They don't
problem.
want to. Yeah, and suddenly they don't want to hear about it. So, and we'll cover that. That
Yeah.
we all know what you're
Yeah, I'm
talking about
jumping
there.
ahead a little bit,
You
but
are. But
hmm
so like covering this in the chat and hearing this or seeing this attitude towards you, I felt like I had to speak up because I'm a ride or die. I'm a loyal
I
friend.
appreciate
I
it.
I have your back, and I just like I had Ruby's back, and just like I had her family members back, and just like I'll have any back. I would have Del Real Love's back. Okay,
Yeah.
if you show to me that you are a real friend, I show my friendship and loyalty to you. And so my thing was I saw that. I'm not having it. So I got on there and I started to say what you were defending because they were like, what's going on? Right. And and
Mm.
and so that's why I got in. I said, yeah, you hurt me, Ruby. You hurt me. I wanted her to understand that the situation was I was hurt and you didn't care and everything Culty's saying is true. And everyone in the chat needs to stop being rude to Culty because she has a right to speak. That's
Yeah.
what I wanted to make clear. And then Jimmy had to get involved and say, oh, if we want it, he got excited about it. It was like girls in a
Well, yeah,
mud
that
fight.
was kind of surprising, wasn't it, from a grown man to come out and say, "Oh, if you want, oh, this is gonna happen. Let's get it happen." Like he was all like down to fight or something, but there was no fight. I'm sorry,
It
we
was
didn't bring
almost
it.
like it's
I'm sorry, we
exciting.
didn't
Where's
bring
the
it.
right? It's almost like he's excited. Where's the mud? It's like this isn't a
Yeah,
this is serious to me. It's not a joke. And I know he
right. It was
may
a
not have
friendship.
meant I know he might not have meant for it that way, but that's how it came off. That
That's how
it
it
was
came
like
off, right?
it was like, "Ooh, let's do debate. Let's go." And I'll be the mediator. And to be honest with you, we didn't need Jimmy there.
Right.
We could have talked to just Ruby and her family member. And you know what? You and I have had these conversations after the fact that we appreciated Linda's take when she when she came on. We
Oh
appreciated
yeah,
that.
she's a beautiful person. She had wonderful thing to say. Wonderful things to say. Yeah.
And that's the kind of support that we all need in just in general, not just in this community, but like in general, like to be heard. I just wanted to
Yeah.
be heard. I just wanted to have someone understand where I was coming from, and I wanted like someone to care. And after I saw
Yeah.
that side from her, I mean, it's still to this day, when I said I was like your ride or die, I was your biggest cheerleader, I would have like had your back. And when they both said that was excessive, that told me all I needed to know. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you don't see me the way
Yeah.
I see you. That's okay.
Yeah.
But I'm stepping out. I'm taking a
Right.
step. You're not my friend. And that's
Yeah.
okay. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to be
Right.
enemies. You're not my
Let's be
enemy neither.
cordial.
Let's be
Let's
cordial. And we
let's
tried to do that. So what did we try to do? The next
well,
following Tuesday,
yeah,
we
'cause that
tried.
night we closed everything on a pretty positive note, I felt.
Yeah,
Like,
and Ruby did reach out to me, and let's talk about that because
mhm.
that was a copy paste moment for you, and that was kind of
Oh
annoying.
yeah.
So she reached out to me, and it seemed like a very heartfelt message, and I told her I appreciated that she was reaching out, and it felt nice that to
Mm.
feel like she actually cared. But now looking back on it, I feel like it was all like performative because like
Mm.
I feel like everything she accused us of being on her show and all that was actually her projecting her own things because I felt like, first of all, if we had never gone on her show, she would have never reached out to us. She would have never reached
Right.
out to me.
No, there would have not been anything. No
No.
communication.
Yes, and
No.
I think in her mind, she thought that since she put on this performative show and the community that watches her know that, oh, she feels bad, like way in the end, even though many times she sounded like a governing body member and was like,
Mm.
I don't apologize. I have nothing to I don't have nothing to feel. I don't need anything from this.
Yeah. If you
Right. I was like,
rewatch it, yeah.
Yeah, go back
Yeah.
and watch Mindful Warrior last hour of her stream. You'll see the
Yeah.
side of
It's
her that's true, that's like real, you know? So
that's
like
how
when
it
she
started
did that, like
out.
I did try to genuinely say I appreciate it, whatever. But then I found out she copy and pasted that message and told you it was copy and pasted and sent the same thing to you, which also told me that she doesn't think that she needs to take the time to have a real friendship with even you. Like,
Yeah.
who does that? You don't copy and paste. And it would have been one thing if she had like sent us both the same message together. Like if it was a joint, you know what I'm saying? Like if we do that, like
Yeah.
we say go do a group text or something. But no, no, no. It was just
Mm.
the whole thing was it was very weird and like
Yeah.
not very heartfelt, is what I'm saying. You know?
Mm. Yeah.
So
I honestly didn't think that much of it, but I understand what you're saying.
yeah. Well, me being who I am, it's like I put genuine effort into my friendships. So if I
Yeah.
feel like I'm
Totally.
trying, you're not going to get a copy and paste from me. That's all I'm saying. You know, you're
Yeah.
going to get a
Right.
real message
Exactly.
from me.
Real
So then,
message. I just
fast
was
forward.
never expecting that from her. You know
No.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I
that
think
was
that's giving a
right.
lot of credit to somebody who isn't really emotionally like caring. So,
Right. Right. And then her family member did reach out the next day and said, "Kate, we can hop on the phone to both of us in a group text." And at that point, we were just mentally drained. Would you not say we
yeah,
were mentally? So in all
totally.
honesty, when she reached out to me, I appreciated it, but I was like, "Whoa, like I need a few days like to,
Yeah, process and
just process everything." And yeah, like I needed days. And we did finally reach out to her and we've had good conversations ever since. I have no issue
yeah,
with Ruby's family member.
right.
I
Me
have no
either.
issue with her.
I
Okay?
have love for her, and I have a lot of empathy because again, we all have trauma, we all have stuff that we're going through, and
Yes.
I understand that.
Right. So then fast forward to her political corner. We wanted to go on to show her and show everyone no hard feelings. We're moving
Right.
forward. We
Yep.
want to show the community we're fine. So we were gonna go in, say hello,
Say
say hi to
hello
Ruby,
in the
say hi
chat.
to the chat, see how
Yeah.
everyone was doing, and then we were going to maybe be there for a few minutes or whatever and see how it was, and then we were gonna leave and do our thing. Like we didn't want any hard feelings. But then what happened was we went in there and we realized we couldn't see our messages were disappearing. Remember
Yeah, I
that?
said,
Like I
yeah,
can't see yours, you couldn't see mine. So we realized, oh my
yeah.
gosh, she's
Oh
blocking
wow,
us.
she's blocking us now.
Right. So
After this whole thing of like, oh great, we're so glad that this got cleared up and blah blah blah. Now we're being blocked.
right. And so she was putting this image in front of the community like she's
Right.
transparent and she's real. And if you need to talk to her, and her
Yeah.
DMs are always open and everything's fine. So when that happened, I wrote to her privately and I said, like you say your door is always open and all this stuff. And then you do this. I was like, that's a weird way of showing your door is always open. And at that point, what did I do? I said, I'm done. Like I'm shutting the
Mm,
door on this relationship. I wished her well. I said
yeah.
goodbye and then I was like done and I unfriended her. Although on Discord, I didn't realize that when you unfriend someone, they can't respond back. That was not my intention. I'm all about free speech. I was not trying to silence Ruby, but I do feel like it was kind of convenient or like coincidental after she silenced us. I accidentally, inadvertently, through the universe, responded and told her how I felt, and then she couldn't write back. But I mean, I didn't mean for
Mm,
that, you know?
right. Yeah.
So yeah, so then, her family member, gave me the response back from Ruby, but at that point I was like, I appreciate it. I don't want you to be a mediator either. I don't want to put you in the middle and I'm just done with it all, right? And then
Yeah.
that's when we went into Joe and Fran's chat. Is there anything you want to add to that before we go into the Joe and Fran what
No,
happened in the
I'm
chat?
good. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're could
So
you go
now
ahead?
we're catching up to more frequent times and because we were
Mhm.
blocked in Ruby's chat, I almost felt like I needed to say something about it because this is what's crazy. No one in the community is even aware of this stuff going on behind the scenes because we
Right.
can't speak. It's like we're being
Because we can't
silenced. We can't even say what's happening.
exactly.
And we
It's
don't
like
have
you
anyone's private
yeah.
information to even let anyone really know. Not
Right.
that I would anyways, because why am I going to send out a flyer or a memo? Hey, guess what?
Yeah, exactly.
Ruby's doing it again, or she's like not letting us speak. So when we were in Joe and Fran's
Mm.
chat, um, Ruby said hi to you and me. Like I
Yeah.
went in there, I was like, "Hi everyone,"
After she
and you said,
blocked
"Hi
us.
everyone." Yep, and we were kind of going to see like, are we blocked over here too? Because we know that Shauna plays a big part of Joe and Fran's show, so we didn't know
Mhm.
what to expect. We didn't know if they were all going to block
Let's
us.
back it up just a tiny bit because when we went into Joe and Fran's
Oh yeah,
chat,
we went to their channel
the
first.
lot we went to their channel and the live chat was
Was off.
deactivated suddenly. And
Right,
I
which
was
we
like,
thought
"Oh,
was
this is
weird.
weird. This
Yeah,
is
because we
weird."
wanted to
Yeah.
support Joe and Fran, even though
Because
we were
that's
on
what
the
I
outs.
always have done. And that's what I don't know if you've always done that, but I've always done that. You could go back, you can
And
go way
see.
back and see how I've
Wait,
jumped between both
and
Fixing My
support both of
Faith,
them.
Ruby, Joe and
Jimmy, we all
Fran's
do that.
chat.
We go jump back and forth, right? We support all of their
Exactly.
stuff. We're like the
Right.
biggest. We try to be the biggest cheerleaders and help, and be there
Right.
for
I
everybody.
mean, yeah.
hmm
So,
So we
yeah,
went.
so it
You're
was
right.
surprising.
It was
I was like,
surprising
"What's
that
this?"
that Joe and Fran's chat was off, and it was all the. It was like we were being herded like cattle over to
To go over to the
fixing
Fixing
my
My
faith.
Faith channel.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's we go, hey everyone, and we even brought that up in the chat. So Joe and Fran. So we were in there. We said hello to everyone. It was kind of like, also, like I said, it was a test to see, can they see us? Are we able to speak in
Yeah.
here? Right. And so
Right.
they had herded, like we had said, they had herded everyone over like cattle over to Fixing My Faith's channel. So
Mhm.
we were asking about that too. Like you asked about it. Hey, like
So
why
why
can't
can't
what
we
happened? Yeah.
what
Why can't
happened
we
to the
chat?
live chat and Joe and Fran's? And I got a
Mm-hmm.
reply from Shauna Goodwife,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that Joe and Fran can't read the chat over there. So suddenly
It's too much.
they're not able to read the chat after a year and a half of doing it. But
Yeah. She made it
okay.
seem like it was too overwhelming for them
Which
to.
may be true. I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, that seems it does seem like a legitimate thing, but at the same
yeah.
time, why can't you herd everyone over to Joe and Fran's, and they only have to worry about their own chat over there? Why are they herding everyone over to Fixing My Faith's channel? It just, I don't know. It makes questions in my mind, but so
Mm.
then, Ruby's saying hello to us, and I was shocked. I was like, oh, she's like
Oh,
acknowledging,
hello.
people can see us, and she's acknowledging us. So I had
Yeah.
responded, being who I am and being transparent and real. I said, hey, Ruby, I appreciate you letting us speak over here, or letting me talk. I wasn't sure if I would be able to speak because you blocked me in Political Corner last night. So thank you for letting me speak. And she wrote, oh, this isn't my channel. And like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it's not your channel, but you help run it with them. So,
Yeah.
and after everything that's gone on with XJW Discord and Shauna and us and this, it wouldn't be that far fetched that we're not allowed to speak over here as well. It's like, oh, that was so
Right.
weird of me to
It
say
was
that.
kind of interesting because all this happened with Ruby, and then suddenly, the we're being blocked and everything, and then their Joe and Fran's chat is, so it's like, okay, so who did that? Did Ruby do that, or did Shauna do that? And why would Shauna do that? Uh, Other
Yeah,
than
lots of
to
questions. Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's
rightfully
strange.
so. It's fine. You and I, we're very curious. I always am asking questions because I'm curious. That's who I am. I'm a critical thinker. I mean, isn't that, we're supposed to
Yeah,
be critical thinkers, aren't we?
yeah,
I mean, that's not what we're supposed to
exactly.
do. So, then after she responded, this isn't my show or whatever. Like like,
Yeah,
oh, why would you say that? Then I said, well, I'm just glad I have free speech over here. So I made that
yeah,
clear. Like I wanted everyone to understand free speech is not at Ruby's channel, even though Ruby claims that she's against Trump and his anti-Semitic whatever speech laws. There's you for the record, there is no free speech at Ruby's channel. There just isn't.
right,
So I
right.
was thankful for free
We were
speech.
being
I was thankful
silenced.
that Shauna is allowing us to speak because she could close us off. So then
Right.
what happened there with Rebecca? Why don't you share what was going on between you and Rebecca in the chat, which led to a phone call?
Oh gosh, what did she say? I don't
Because
even
that circles us
remember.
back to your
Like,
beginning comment of the governing body won't let us.
oh yeah, but I can't remember.
She was being very passive aggressive. So like we were
Oh,
talking about, like, because the topic of Joe and Fran's show was
yeah, I
like
don't even remember the
social, it
topic.
was like about social conditioning, or social understanding, or social relationships.
Yeah.
And then the topic came up and we were talking. I think me and Ruby were kind of talking. It felt like we were talking to each other through the chat in our own
Hmm.
roundabout way, even though Ruby accused me of being a passive aggressive. But it was like my way of saying, yes, you can't always trust people, and yes, people will stab you in the back. And
Yeah.
Rebecca was catching wind of this kind of stuff, this interactions, and also like you were saying things like um that we're on to bigger and better things, and Rebecca would say something
Oh
like,
yeah.
like,
Oh
what does
yeah.
that mean? Or you can't be on bigger, better things
Yeah,
with the
she
way you
always
guys
had
are
some kind
behaving.
of,
Snide
yeah,
remark.
some things like she was making a lot of comments at me in the chat, and I was pretty much not even really replying. But then at the end, when I just like
Have had
announced
enough.
our move. No,
Yes.
no. I mean, when I announced that we were having a movie night
Discord.
in our Discord, because I'm excited about what we're doing. You know, we're having some new fun stuff going on, and so I just announced it, and she said, "I won't be there," and I don't remember exactly what she said
It
though.
was almost like, "I won't be there, bye." And then you were like, "Rebecca, what did I ever do
What
to
did I?
you?"
Yeah, I remember that. I said I only said hello to you tonight, so I was really not understanding why she had a
But it's
problem
with all the
with
passive
me.
aggressive comments, right?
Yeah, and
And so then
then
I wrote, I said, "Well, she seems to be the definition of passive aggressive tonight," because that topic had come up during Joe and Fran's, like, in the chat. Passive aggressiveness came
oh
up in the chat. So then I said, "Well, tonight it seems like Rebecca's being the definition of passive aggressive." And then I had said goodbye. I think you had said goodbye shortly thereafter. And then I had actually gone in the next day to see if anything had been said or how long Joe and Fran's um, live had gone, and I realized that after I had left, Ruby said, "No, Rebecca hasn't been passive aggressive. Actually, you, to me, have been a passive aggressive all night." Yeah,
well, well, see, I remember that Rebecca said something to me that was off, and I did reply because I said something back like
like, what is your deal? Like, why are you attacking, or like,
yeah,
why
I
are you
said all
against
I did
me?
was say hello to you, and then
Mhm.
Shauna
Yeah,
said
Shauna
to
said,
me,
"Listen in different
Shauna
voice.
said to me something like,
Hear it in different
uh,
voice," or something.
yeah, something strange like that.
No,
Like,
it's
oh,
just
that's not how she said it. That's not how Rebecca was saying it. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I said in the chat, I'm sorry, but I don't need you to interpret what she said to me for me
right.
because
And
I'm picking it up. I'm picking it up. She's attacking me over and over in the chat. I hadn't said a word, but finally I did say something. I said, what is going on?" Because I uh, um, looked back through the chat. All I said to you was
was
hello,
high. Yeah, and this
hello.
circles back to what I said
Yeah.
earlier about Shauna being a hypocrite and having double standards, because when
Oh,
she was
right.
talking to Ruby's family member and was telling her that she felt like she was being derogatory to that person, and then she says, and it's like, because you're reading it the way you want to, Shauna, and now you're telling you, oh, you're reading it the way you want to read it. It's like, take your own advice, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So this is what we're
Mhm.
dealing, and this is what we keep seeing from this community, and this is something
Yeah.
I wanted to address in this with you and talk to everyone, is that, when we were raised as Jehovah Witnesses, we were taught that we could trust everyone as a Jehovah Witness, right? If they were a Jehovah Witness, it was safe. It didn't matter if they lived in Australia or lived wherever. If we were traveling as,
Yeah.
doing different with our family, and, our father had a talk or something, we could trust going to a complete stranger's house because they were a Jehovah Witness, right? Well, I'm
Exactly.
seeing this too, which isn't true. You can't do that. Well, I'm seeing the similar pattern in the XJW community, that people just assume that if you're an XJW, that you can automatically just, well, if you're an XJW, we should be able to trust everyone,
Mm.
right? But I'm not seeing that from
Yeah.
people. I'm seeing a
Right.
lot of things that are not trustworthy. I'm seeing a lot of things that, speaking from my own experience with Ruby, you can't trust everyone. You can't, put yourself out there, because people will stab you in the back. They just will.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I personally I feel like I've been stabbed in the back because I had very much loyalty to Shauna. I was very loyal to her. I was running, her Discord the way I thought wanted it. Like I never, like, I would always check in with her. And yeah, so between what happened with her and then what happened with Ruby too, and just being like suddenly demoted and my admin thing taken away for apparently no reason. um,
Right.
it was very, very strange. And then, do you want to go into the phone call I
Governing
received
Yeah, the
about?
governing body. They told you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I
governing
receive a
body.
phone call, and I won't mention names, but we're all going to know
We're
who
just gonna
we're
call them
talking
the
about
governing
here.
body. They
The
called you on
governing
the phone.
body called me, and were basically fishing for information about, they noticed in the chat, which supposedly they are not able to see, because Shauna said that she removed their chat because Joe and Fran can't. Oh, sorry. Well, there you go. That's the governing body. That they can't see, right, the chat. So I guess it does have to be said, right, who I'm talking about, because it would make sense if I didn't.
Yeah.
Um, so they removed the chat because of that, supposedly, but yet they're calling me about all the things that they saw in the chat the other night. And I also asked them, why is your chat off? And they said, oh, I don't know. So they didn't, like, there was probably no conversation with them about turning their chat off, because they seemed completely unaware. They said, I don't know, maybe Ruby turned it off or something. They seemed to think it was Ruby too, but I don't know. So yeah, so I get a phone call from them, and they they wanted to know what's all the ruckus about in the chat, and they said that they're not going to take sides or anything, that they just want to know what's going on. And meanwhile, they're out and about, um you
Running
know
errands and stuff.
running errands or something. I don't really know, but it was kind of like a rushed conversation, and they just wanted to get to the point of, Joe kept on saying, well, how do we resolve it? I'm a problem solver. And, I appreciate that. But there's a lot of backstory, which we covered tonight, that you are not aware of. So
Mm-hmm.
we end the conversation basically with them saying that they have to really watch the chat now, because they want to make sure that things aren't said in there, that we have to be respectful in the chat. And yeah, okay, we have to be
Well, didn't you
respectful in the chat.
didn't
But
you tell them
yeah,
that they can't control people say? And they were like, well, we're
well,
talking
that's what I was
about.
getting to. Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, well, I said, that's all fine and good, but you can't control people. You can't, people are going to say what they need to say, and people want to be heard. There's a lot of stuff that, is not being said. And basically they just said, well, we're going to have to watch the chat. And I'm like, you're not listening to anything I'm saying, because because who is in the chat? People are in the chat. You're literally trying to dictate what people say now. It's very much governing body watchtower. Okay.
Right. And at the same
So,
time, they're talking about dirty laundry, and when they're talking
well,
about
that
us.
happened afterwards. So after this call, after we're not taking sides and all this stuff, they get on someone else's channel, not theirs, not Fixing My Faith. I won't mention the person, but everybody knows.
Mhm.
They get on that person's channel, and the first thing they say, the first thing out of their mouths, is that they have to, we want to watch the chat because we have to be very careful about what we say to each other in the chat. It's like,
Yeah, and he
yeah.
used the analogy of dirty laundry.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like not airing
He
your
said,
dirty
"We don't
laundry.
we don't want to air our dirty laundry in the chat." Well, who's he talking about, Michelle? Who could he be
Us.
talking about?
But
Hmm.
yet, they turn around right away and say, "But you can air out your dirty laundry when it comes to Watchtower. You
Well,
can
yeah,
call in,
they
you
then
can
proceed to
vent.
say,
Yeah,
yeah,
you can vent, call the show. You can vent and air your dirty laundry, anything else you want, but just not if there's something going on in the XGW community and it's creating maybe a problem for
yeah,
them or the people they work with that affects them, right?
right,
Then we need to shut
exactly.
up.
We need
Just
to
shut
shut
up.
up.
Yes, we're not
Right.
allowed to speak. Right, because the governing body
It's
says,
it's just hypocritical.
no, it is. It's hypocrites and double standards galore. And that's one thing that we're going to do now with this. This is our first video of our podcast, and we have great ideas to come. We're not going to be about XGW.
Yeah,
We want to put that out there right now, but we
right.
wanted to address this because this is something that's been festering, something that keeps coming up in the chat, and we just want to lay it to bed. So when people ask us what's going on, we're going to say, go watch the video, because
Right.
this is the whole story. And if people have questions, feel free to ask questions in the comments. I feel like I'm a pretty open
Absolutely.
book. I have nothing to hide. I am transparent. You're transparent. We are real. This is what real looks like, people. This is what real looks like. When you have a problem in the XGW community or at all, it's actually okay to talk about it. And like I said
Right.
earlier, my what I said earlier still stands. If anyone wants to reach out to me and have a conversation, I'm open to it. The only one I'm really not open to at this point in time to have a conversation with, because I've seen all I need to see from, is Ruby. I don't need to see or talk to her after this because she has shown me who she is and now I can't trust her. And I find it hilarious that she wrote to you and said, she would open the chats. Oh, that's the other thing. In Joe and
Oh
Fran's
yeah.
chat, she was like being so nice to you. And because Joe and Fran are watching and Sean is watching, it's like it's all performative. And she's like, oh,
Right.
I'll let me write you a DM. And then she DMs you and says, oh, you know, I didn't know you guys were never going to come in and cause and ambush me again. Right.
Because
So that's
I
why I
told her
blocked you.
that because I said, you know, we weren't gonna ever come back and like attack you or something. Like
No,
I
we
don't know
spoke our
why she
piece.
thought that.
Right. We spoke
We
our
wanted to
piece.
have a conversation, which we did. We had one conversation, and since that one conversation, it's like every time these people are on the YouTube,
Their
they
show.
got something to say about us again.
Like without saying our names, but we know they're saying it because they're like slyly saying stuff about,
Yeah,
ooh, the
don't do
drama or
this,
whatever.
don't
Yes.
do
It's like
that.
we're not
The
dumb.
trolls are out, and
Hmm.
you know we've been attacked by trolls, and like,
It's
hello,
like
we
it
know,
doesn't take a genius to figure it out, you know?
right?
So that was all to me very performative. And when she told you, oh, well, now I will unblock you and allow you to speak. But Michelle, I don't know if I can trust her intentions. Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? Who needs to
mm,
trust who here? I did nothing to you, girlfriend. I did nothing
right.
to you. You did it to me. I don't trust you.
Yeah,
I don't trust you. Okay.
yeah,
I never did anything to you. So that's laughable to me. And
yeah,
this is all I wanted to say. This all I wanted to get it all out there.
yeah.
Um,
One
because
time, this is
yep,
it. Because I'm
because
not. We're not doing this again.
no,
Like one time, you're not going to hear us talk about this again.
no,
Because we are
because
on to better and
better
bigger things.
things. Yes.
Yeah,
But we've had
positive,
multiple people
positivity.
reach out to us with very nice things to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
in support of, seeing that side of Ruby and seeing what we went through, understanding
yeah,
their eyes have been opened on some things. But also, too, there were a lot of people that reached out to us and were like, well, what happened? Like, we had people
yeah,
that like jumped on and saw what happened on Ruby's show and were like, whoa, like what happened?
yeah,
And we know
yeah.
the optics weren't very good. We know that it did not come off probably in the best, and that was not our intention. But at
Right,
the same time, like when you're seeing things happen and it's just being pushed aside and pushed aside, and then you're being gaslit, it something needs to be said. And I
yeah,
felt like we confronted her and we were very nice about it. Even on her show, we confronted her. We were very nice about it. I was practically in tears again. So obviously there was love there. I cared about her. So it's like my intentions were never like to hurt anybody or to be vindictive or to be like for revenge, or I don't know what the
right.
multiple
Me
negative
either. And
things.
yeah, and like I said, you could go back since the beginning, since I've been around, and look at my chats, and
And look
like,
at your record. Yeah.
right. I mean, have
Your
you
record
ever
speaks for
seen me
itself,
get that
girl.
upset? I've never been that upset about something.
No. Yeah, so your record speaks for yourself, and
Hmm.
people should know by now. And I know that I'm still new to the scene. I've been around maybe over a year in the XJW community, but to be honest with you, after what I've seen, I really don't want to be part of the XJW community. Like I came
That's
into
the way
this
I feel.
Right, like, I came into this because, I've been out for what, 25 years? I never really became or was part of an advocate or anything like that until I saw Leah Remini's episode about Jehovah's Witnesses and realized all the CSA was
Mm,
happening, and then I started speaking about it, and then fast forward to, like, I saw the community was getting bigger on YouTube, and I was like, "This is great," and I wanna be here to support other people. I don't really feel like I need, like, any kind of leaving the cult support because my mind has so deconstructed from that time. So to
yeah,
be honest with you, I was here to make friends and to support
yeah,
other people. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And now that
yeah.
I've seen
Same.
this, yeah, now
That's
that I've seen it,
exactly the
it's
same the way that I feel.
mentality. And it's like
And
now
I
that
feel
I've
like
seen
there
this,
are
it's so toxic.
people, right, and there are people out here that, view XJWs as members, not friends. Like I would use the term, you know, I like to use the term like we're friends. We're, trying to reach out to each other and be friends, but not everybody views you that way. I'll tell you that.
Right. And see, like I was saying, I've only been like what, over a year, and everything that everyone has seen from me so far has been I'm trying to bridge divides between Jake alt-worldly and, I'm trying to like have both sides see different sides. Like I've always been like trying to like just help people, but I've had enough of this. Like it bit
Yeah.
me in the butt. So it's like at this point, it's like it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like I defended Ruby so many times, like you did. Like I'm just kind of done,
Yeah, I
like
think
I'm
there
ready.
and I think there's a lot of mental illness in this community that has
Mhm.
like really come to the forefront lately,
Right.
and
And I
yeah,
feel for those people. I feel for everyone. I even,
me
like I
too.
said, I feel for Ruby. I feel for, it's not, I don't have hate in my heart, but at the same time,
Exactly.
I have to do what's best for my mental health. And right now, you and I have big plans going forward. I
Hmm.
enjoy, like, I'm so glad. I think it's bittersweet. I feel like maybe the real reason that I came into this was because I found you, you
Yeah, me
know?
too. That same. Yeah,
Right. And so I feel like together we will do amazing things. And that's all I want to focus on here on out. I get
me
goosebumps even
too.
thinking about
Me too,
it.
girl.
So yeah, so I hope this like has cleared the air for people.
Yeah,
And I hope people can see who we are and that we mean everyone well and best wishes to everyone. But like we have to do what's
absolutely.
best for us, and you might see us here and there in the chat, or you might see us here and there in your comments, still trying to support you. But on the whole, for me, especially, I can't speak for you, but like I'm taking a step back and I'm kind of removing myself from all of that and moving forward and doing other things. So
Yep, same.
yay.
Yay.
Well, I guess that's a wrap,
I guess
right?
that's it.
All
Okay.
right.
Thanks, Michelle.
Aw, thanks, Culty. Love you, girl.
Love you too.